Hello, welcome to my channel, The Jellyfish Journals. My name is Susie, and if you are new here, I love sharing what I have created in my notebook. And I do some things with my reading journal on this channel. I do some book reviews on this channel, and then once in a while I'll throw something different in there just for funsies. This notebook is the one I'm currently working in. It is almost finished. So I started this notebook in May. I think I can get August in here. But that's basically 4 months in one notebook, and I'm happy with that. This journal's a bit of, I don't know, I feel bad, I don't feel bad. I feel inaccurate calling it planning, because rarely do I plan in here. Usually it's more, I wouldn't call it a memory keeper either. It's really just more of a constantly evolving document. No, that's not right either. Okay, I'm a hot mess. Just look at what I do and you'll see, and maybe you can leave a comment below of what the heck you would call this, because there are some creative pages in here. There are some planning elements in here. There's some fitness tracking elements in here. There is some journaling in here. It's a really just a hodgepodge mishmash. I like creating things, and so when I feel the mood to create something, this is where it goes. So it is, like I said, it is getting a little chunky. Mostly you can see it on this side and the bottom. You might, if you've been around a little bit, you might remember when I did these pages, I had really layered all of these sheets, and it was giving me a lot of trouble, and some of you had some really helpful suggestions. In the end, it just drove me so bananas that I went through and I pulled everything off, and now it is just a thin strip of orange, a thin strip of green, instead of the orange running all the way behind it and the green running all the way behind. And so I also did cut down the middle. I think someone suggested that, and it did reduce the thickness there. I'm seeing something very thick here. Oh, I know what that is. It reduced the thickness there because that was kind of freaking me out, being so close to the beginning of the notebook, that the binder was, or the binding was getting a bit thick. So I don't remember if I did that last month and talked about it in my last video or not, but I figured I would mention that here. So let's go ahead and take a look at all of the spreads that I used and created in the month of June. Although I'm realizing I did not update a couple of things, I will go through and update. I'm ready to film, so I'm just gonna go ahead and film. So this was my July monthly spread, and you can see I have a few days of my line a day to go through. I do take notes elsewhere, like sometimes on my phone, or sometimes I use my plans here to help me remember what I did those days. But I will be honest, summer pretty much looks the same every day. I go for a long walk and run in the morning. I come home. I usually do random house chores until about 11 when I eat my lunch. I read while I eat lunch. I read a little bit after lunch, and then I usually come down and journal. It doesn't change that much. So sometimes it gets a little hard to figure out what I want to write there. I also didn't finish updating my 10,000 steps a day. July was really tricky. I had a colonoscopy. I had an infection. I pulled my neck when I was sleeping really bad, and it was like a week and a half. I could hardly turn my neck. And then I messed up my toe somehow, and so for a couple days I couldn't walk or run until that healed up either. So nothing like June. June was awesome. July, not so much. And then these are some of the things that I had going on in the month. Then we move on to the beginning. So this was just a 3-day spread. So I just took some washi. I was journaling at my friend Amanda's house, and she had this really pretty washi, which I love. And I decided I was just going to do something different. So this is one day, and another day, which that's how I roll. I don't do 7 days in a spread normally, sometimes, but not too often. I like the space, and I love stickers. I also planned this one at her house. I think These stickers came when my husband was cleaning out his parents' house. She had some letter stickers. These I won in a faculty prize raffle, and one of the prizes was stickers, so I took the stickers. So I don't know where those came from, unfortunately. The boxes are from the Wrong Rainbow sticker box, and I'll link everything I can down below. A super simple spread. I think this one is a 3-day spread as well. I don't normally do that. Yeah, a 3-day spread. I had a lot going on, and sometimes it ends up being mostly checklists, but this one's a little sparse. This one I love. This took forever because I was really picky, but I pulled all of this out of like a boho sticker book from Hobby Lobby, and I think I have 2 of them. One's a little smaller and one's like a chunkier book. And I just decided I was going to go with this like rattan and some of the greens. And I did have some events going on, and I had some stuff happening. So this is when it is a planner. I knew there was a dentist appointment and an eye appointment, and I knew my friend Lindsay was coming over to bedazzle a book with me, and I knew I had a colonoscopy. And so this was kind of a planning spread. And this one would cover 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. And so you see like 3 days, 3 days, 5 days. I decorate first and then I figure it out. Here's the 6-day spread. This one I pulled out of a tropical Happy Planner sticker book. And I just decided I'm going to only use stickers from that book. I do that a lot. It just kind of helps me deplete and make sure I'm using my sticker books. It's pretty normal for me to flip through all my sticker books and say, I haven't used this one in a while, and then dedicate a spread just to that. So I used these half circles on the side to mark each day. I put a palm frond that coordinated. I put these, I don't know, whatever, wordy, whatever, sticker things on there. There were today stickers, these little header bars, and then I did some empty boxes just to balance. I think there was not coordinating colors for all of these style, so I alternated it up. And then, yeah, I just gave each day its own color. I pulled out some markers. I used my swatch notebook. And this is a good example of how my method of swatching really worked well for me. When I wanted a blue, I held this up to the blue until I found a blue that worked well for me, and that I thought would work well for this. I have probably smoky teal. That's probably my favorite blue ever. But I just did that with all the colors. And so by having my swatch book coordinated by color, it just makes it a lot easier for me to make sure that whatever I have, I like how the colors balance. And I do have a video for my swatch book flip through. If you want to take a look at that, I will find a way to link that, or you can dig through my videos because I'm still learning. So this was where that chunkier bit I was just talking about came from. I had intended this to be a spread like for days, and my to-do list just was insane and in my head and kind of driving me bonkers. And so I said, you know what, forget that. This is going to be a checklist spread, Dutch door spread. So I found these stickers, I think at Michael's. I think they're Eastery. I think that's the idea, but this is my favorite hymn. And I love this so much. This is on my cell phone case that I ordered on Etsy. So it just kind of was, I like to put something faith-based every so often in there just to use as a reminder. So I've got my to-do list here, and then to do, and then some more to do. I think I covered most of it. I'm almost done moving things out of Paige's room, and I just cut Bubba's nails like 5 minutes ago. So yeah, apparently that's been on the list for a long time, as apparent by all the holes in my skin from where he keeps poking me. I did a short video of how I created this spread. These are just some mermaids that my daughters had drawn ages ago, probably 8 or 9 years ago. And this is just a 2-day spread. I really wanted to do something with the mermaids. I didn't want them to get lost or messed up. I had this paper that I think I got at a thrift store that kind of looked ocean wavy. And I used some more of those Wrong rainbow sticker boxes. And these are some ocean stickers that I think I came in a Hobby Lobby pack. But it was just kind of a fun way to not make it too crazy. I wanted to bring in that red and blue so it wasn't too blue. And yeah, I'm really happy with this. It's kind of like a fun little keepsake in the middle of my journal. This is just an example of how sometimes I do creative things in here. I had saved something similar to this on my phone. I must have seen it on Instagram or somewhere. I don't know. Sometimes I screenshot things and I said, you know what, I really like that. So I did change it up a little bit. I used washi tape. I don't know where that washi tape came from. But I used washi tape to color in the watering can. And yeah, I drew all the little pots, tried to make all the little plants look different. And I added something in here, maybe anger. I don't remember, but I just love that sentiment. And our theme this year for 3rd grade is gardens. I'm doing bees and daisies in mine, but I just love this mentality of what you choose to focus on will grow. I might actually make something similar for my door. All right, another 4-day spread. So still in July. And this one I used some stamps from Archer and Olive. I used these stickers, came from a Hobby Lobby kit, I believe. The gold stickers were from a Happy Planner sticker book, and yeah, I think that's mostly it. I did get to go whitewater tubing with my daughter and 2 of her friends. It was an end of the year gift from a parent. They own a company that does that kind of thing, and so they offered me 4 tickets. And so I printed up on my Canon IV printer a couple of pictures from the girls when they were tubing. And I don't know about you guys, but I love a happy accident. And this worked out really well where the tubes were this bright yellow and it just coordinated with what I had already designed. Again, I decorate and design first, then I fill it in. If the pictures hadn't matched, it wouldn't have bothered me. It would have been fine, but they did, and I kind of love it. All right, this is a spread that I created using inspiration from some poster border that I got at Dollar Tree. And this is another 4-day spread, and I just had some fun. I did the marker lines again. I didn't realize I did that twice in 1 month. But I used these polka dot borders in the back, and then I just kind of had some fun making a nice little colorful spread. If you're curious about some other things I've done with supplies that I've bought at Dollar Tree, then just check that out. I've got that video somewhere also. I'm not the best at linking things. I don't know why that looks, oh, I know why that looks weird. And I'm sorry I'm saying all the time. I don't know. I feel like sleepy all of a sudden or something. Okay, I love this. I had a lot of fun with this. So every time my best friend and I get together, which is now once, maybe twice a year, we always swap what we've been watching. And I always forget. I lose it in the text. I forget to write it down. So I decided this time, even though we hung out a couple months ago, I still had it. I found it somewhere. I drew an old-fashioned TV, and I put some dot stickers on the side. They were a brighter blue, and I didn't like them, so I colored over them. They were paper, which worked out. And then I took washi tape, and I just did strips of this blue and white floral washi down the back. Once I had the washi across the back, I just took an X-Acto knife and I trimmed around the edges. And then on the side here, I just wrote what to watch. And so I've got a few things here that either, this one she didn't recommend. I just have never finished the series. But these 3 she recommended, and I'll add a couple things here, and I could add a couple here if I wanted to, but I don't know, I love how it looks like a TV in front of a old-fashioned wallpaper. And then we come up to the end of July. So another example of how I just went bonkers with stickers. Hold on. I believe it is this sticker book from Happy Planner, and I just went nuts. I pulled out as many of these floral stickers as I could that had the clear backing, and I knew I wanted to make a really pretty Dutch door with a window. I put these two stickers so that when you flip it, you can still see it through. And once I did, so I'd originally done this down here, the side, and then these two stickers. And once I did that, it looked a little weird. It was like a white partial circle. So I went back, I stuck a whole lot more stickers around the circle. I decided I wanted stickers down across the bottom, and I made these little, I don't know if collage is the right word. I can't think of it. Scrappy Wife always says it. But I put these here in the same configuration. Then I filled this in with stickers as well, and these roundish ones at the top. And so this ended up being a 4-day spread as well. Again, in the summer, there's not tons and tons happening. So just little blips of things I did and things I had to get done. There's a couple things I still need to check off here. Like I've done these things now. And that's gonna do it. Actually, that's not gonna do it. I have one more spread. And this is my Garmin badge spread that I do at the end of each month. And like I said, July was a tough month. There was just so much going on physically that it was hard to get as many badges as I did last month. So I did earn these 3 badges. This one was a weekend walking activity. This was 20 activities of 20 or more minutes, and then 30 miles total walked in July. And I thought this quote was really kind of cool, that you alone are enough. Oh my word, guys. Hey, school's starting soon. I should learn how to read, right? You alone are enough. You have nothing to prove to anybody. And so I didn't want myself to be discouraged. Since June, I earned like a ton of badges. So I decided to stick this here. And this came from Dollar Tree also. All right, so stick around and you'll get to see what I am doing for my August calendar. For the month of August, I know it's back to school, but if you've been watching it all, you know by now, I don't really care about that as far as my journal. So I was at Michael's not long ago. I had a $5 voucher and I saw these really cute giraffe stickers. And I'm not particular to giraffes. I think they're cool, but I don't know. I thought it would make a pretty cool spread, or pretty adorable. I also, in this origami paper mega pack, I remembered that there were some giraffe skin pages, giraffe fur print, whatever. And then I pulled out 3 markers that I think are going to go really well. Tombow 177. I have the Archer and Olive. What is this? I don't know what this is, but it was from the Beekeeper Garden box. This is their honeycomb color. Let's see if that'll focus for a sec. It's trying really hard. It did come with these labels, honeycomb, but it's got the double tips. I just don't know what this is. I don't know if it's an acrylic graph or a calligraph, but it was in the Beekeeper subscription box, which I highly recommend. I love that box. And then a Sharpie S note that I named Olive, and I just did that by writing it on there with a Sharpie, fine tip Sharpie, and then putting some Scotch tape over the top so it won't rub off. So these 3 colors will be my colors. And happy accident, or just it worked out, the calendar that Archer and Olive sends in their monthly email is all of the colors I would want to use. So this month I'm going to use this exactly the way it is here. I also am going to use from the Wrong Rainbow Collection sticker book these gold boxes. I think are going to work really well for the things I have going on in August. I think they're going to lay real nice on this as far as the color contrast, and they go really nicely with those golden tones, orangey tones that are in the giraffe fur. So I think this will be pretty cool once it all comes together. So let's get started. The first thing that I want to do is go ahead and glue down my calendar. Since this is such a huge component of the spread, I really like to figure out the placement of the calendar before I do any decorating. I try to mix up where the calendar is each month. So sometimes it's on the left, sometimes it's on the right, sometimes it's on the flap in the middle. I want to say in July it was actually on the back of the flap. And that's, again, just to keep things interesting for me. So, because I want this to be a flap, kind of like a Dutch door type thing or one of those like barn door things, half doors, I don't know what it's called, but I wanted to go ahead and trim out around the calendar, and that's going to help me decide where I want some of my decorations to go, where I want those giraffes and the paper and all that fun elements to be on this spread. So once I do a little cleaning up with my X-Acto knife there, now it's time to put the paper down. I'd pretty much decided I wanted my line a day to run across the bottom of the left page and behind the calendar flap. So that meant the only place for this giraffe paper to go would be across the top. And I felt like no matter what I did, that left side just kept looking a little lumpier or bumpier than the right side, but in the end, it won't matter and you'll see why. So starting at the bottom, I decided 15 days of my line a day would go on the left and the other 16 days would go on the right. And I'm a little bummed at myself because my original thinking was not to do the numbering this way, but I'd forgotten my plan. And once I started doing it, I thought, oh, that'd be kind of cute if you could see the numbers no matter which way the flap is going. You'll see in a minute why I kind of wish I had numbered on the left consistently. I'm using those three colors I chose, the Tombow marker, the Archer and Olive marker, and the S-Note, the Sharpie S-Note, and I'm just alternating colors for my line a day. For whatever reason, this is just extremely aesthetically pleasing to me. And when I do my line a day, it just keeps me on track. I don't know. There's something kind of fun about, saying to myself in my head, oh, I'm on a yellow line again, or, yay, it's a dark green line again. I don't know, maybe it has something to do with the passage of time. It's probably pretty weird, but this is just what my brain does when I am dialoguing inside of my own head. Of course, I guess that would be monologuing if I'm the only one talking in my head. I guess we're always monologuing in our head. I don't know. Is it dialoguing if you talk to yourself? I don't know. This interesting things I think about. Anyway, moving on, I really wanted that August flap to have some of that draft pattern behind it. And so you'll see what I decided to do was drop the right-hand side of the page, that draft print paper. It's going to drop a little bit lower than the draft print paper that I glued down on the right side. And that way when the month of August is laying flat, it's got that draft print running behind the flap. Now, looking at it now, it's kind of funny. I almost wish I had dropped it lower on the left as well, so when the flap was going the other way, it would also drop behind it a bit more. I think my original thought was above the line of day, above the line a day, I was going to do a little scene with the giraffes. But even when I come up with a plan, sometimes when I'm seeing things in action or I'm trying to, get things going, it's just not looking the way I thought I wanted it to look. So I have to make some adjustments as I go. I still like planning ahead or at least having a rough idea of what I want to do before I get started, but I'm also understanding that there's a level of flexibility that needs to be had while you do this. So looking at the back of this flap, I still didn't really have a plan. I thought about doing a giraffe scene on the back of this flap, but I also didn't want all the cuteness to be on the side that I wouldn't see very often. So I decided to put a little bit of that giraffe print at the bottom there. So when the flap is that way, there's a little bit of that same pattern being brought towards the bottom. And now it's time to take a look at these stickers. So these stickers are three-dimensional, and the cool thing about them is that the dimension comes in from a little foam sticker and the same sticker placed on top of that. So sometimes if you're very careful, you can pull those apart and get extra stickers out of it. That's the reason I wanted to number those lines on the left. I'd had this idea of the giraffe poking out completely on the side of the calendar. The numbers kind of made that a little difficult. So I still managed to squeeze a giraffe in over there, but I do wish I had numbered on the left instead of the right. Digging into these wrong boxes, I noticed while they're all kind of a goldish color, some of them looked more, I'm trying to think, kind of more like I can't think of what it's called, like a brass cup. I'm thinking of like what a Moscow Mule might come in. I'm not a big drinker, but that's what I'm thinking of. And I can't think if that's right, but I think it's a brass cup that you serve it in. Maybe a copper mug, maybe copper. And anyway, some of these stickers look a little bit more goldish and some look more copperish. So I started to notice that as I was working. And so if you see me pulling stickers off and changing them out, I'm trying to keep it consistent. The goldish ones were a little bit darker. The copper ones were a little bit more of those tones in the fur of the giraffes on the stickers, that orangey goldish tone. So I wanted to make sure that was consistent with these boxes. And pretty much I am just randomly sticking them around the top. Those are for activities or things that I need to schedule or go to because they're scheduled. And I want to have those just kind of scattered around and just to have a place to jot those things down. I really missed the dot grid because of that draft paper. That dot grid was covered up, and it is so hard for me to get things nice and straight without a dot grid or some sort of line to help me out with that. So if you see me being a bit persnickety, it's because that's how I roll. I liked the idea of this giraffe poking his head up on the from behind the calendar flap, but he was a little short the first time. He's got to be showing some neck, so I stuck that in there. And I like the idea of the tree kind of overlapping the sticker a little bit and just bringing up some of that green up near the top of the page. It was looking a little green heavy towards the bottom, but I think those trees really bring that savanna feel and also kind of help balance the page out a little bit more. I'm using some more of the giraffe stickers. This one I end up taking off because its neck looks like it's being bent into that crack of the page. So moved that over a little bit, and it's kind of same as before, a little bit too much white space above their heads, but I think it's going to work. I decided that this one was going to go down here at the bottom. I kind of wish at least one of the giraffes had been leaning in from the left. There were quite a few that were leaning in from the right, and it just meant they were all kind of peeking out from the same direction. So a little bit of a bummer there. Right now I'm scraping off that foam sticker that made it 3D, and I'm just using a little bit of the Elmer's glue stick to turn it into something sticky so that I could use it as a sticker. And I'm noticing now too, I don't know how I didn't notice it in person, but the giraffe stickers were a little holographic. So if they look a little purpley, I think that's why. I don't know why I didn't notice that in person, but it looks like the camera lighting caught it a bit. I decided to go ahead and stick one of them down there at the bottom. I feel like whenever I see giraffes, they're always kind of together. And so I decided that there would be two of them peeking out from the corner down near the calendar. And I wanted to use the other giraffe that was the one that made the giraffe sticker on the left there, three-dimensional, sorry. And I decided to go ahead and stick it down there so it can be hanging out with its little buddy. And I'm just going to go ahead and number up these dates. I don't know if it frustrates anybody else when a month has to have a divided day, but so it goes. And now I'm going to do my little code for my 10,000 steps a day. I decided for August it's going to be a little leaf, and I will just draw a leaf and go around the box every time I hit 10,000 steps a day. The last thing I decided to do was to bring a little bit of that draft print down underneath the calendar. And at first I wanted to tear it, but it just was getting a little tricky to tear it well and not have it cover too much of the calendar. So I decided to just use a straight bit of scrap that I had used elsewhere. This looks pretty bland now, but by the time I'm done at the end of the month, it will be a little more full of color because I've hopefully hit my steps for most of those days. So once I trim things down and clean things up a bit, that is going to do it for my August monthly spread. All right, here's the finished August monthly spread. So we have up across the top, this is where I will write all of the things that are going on in the month. I'm pretty sure I am going to have to come down into this area too. August is really busy with the start of school. I've got my line a day that starts on this side and goes behind the calendar over here. I also left myself a little room here for some more events going on in August. And then, of course, my calendar where I record how many days or which days I walked 10,000 steps that day or gained 10,000 steps. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did and you would like to see more of the things that I create, then don't forget to give me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. And I hope that you have a great day. Bye.